Recording in progress.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday we learned some bootstrap classes, how to use them. Bootstrap classes for form design. How to design the forms using bootstrap classes we learned. Not only just form related classes, some additional margin, padding, borders, these options I explained. So now after learning the concept of designing a form with some good interface, now you need to know one more concept, that is actually CSS classes for form validation. You need to know about CSS classes for form validation. Actually, when you are designing forms, CSS provides some classes. By using those classes, we can handle validation. What is validation means? Already in HTML, we learned validation attributes. What are the validation attributes we learned? Validation attributes like required, min length, max length, pattern, min and max. All these comes under validation attributes. So while working with forms, some important classes are there. Let's see how to use these classes. Actually, CSS classes for form validation. So those classes are defined like this. We have a class that is required. So this required class verifies whether required is mentioned or not. That means, so it defines effects for elements that are specified, elements which are specified by using, which are specified with required attribute, which are specified with required attribute that is actually required. That means which field is required, we can identify and we can apply some effect by using this required. For example, let's see, suppose we have one form. Let's create a form. So Flipkart. So in this, we will design one simple form. Okay. So here I am creating a form. In the form, we are writing some data list with the data term, and heading here we say register user. This is username, and input type is equal to text. Another, we have some password, and input type is equal to password. And we have some age. So input type is equal to number. Like this, we have some fields. So we have like mobile, and the input type is equal to text. And let's have a button, some register. Right. Now in this page, we have some elements like this. This is a simple screen. Now in this, for some elements, I am giving here required. I am giving required for name and required for mobile. Now, by seeing this, you can't classify that. That means by seeing the form, how you can tell which one is required? Only the person who designed it, he knows that they are mentioned with required. So once you try to submit, then it will show. But when we design forms, generally we create dynamic forms. Dynamic forms means those forms will be changing according to situation. Means at one situation, few fields, another situation, some more fields, like that, we change them. In that case, now the problem is these required also will be changing. At some place, one field is required, in another place, another field is required. Then we can try one concept here. After every text box, we will put a span. And for that span, we will give an asterisk. After every element, we will put an asterisk. You see, it will look like this. That means after every element, there is a star mark. But I want that star mark only for the elements which are mentioned with required. Then how you verify that? We can do that by using here. Let's write a style. In that, we have to access all inputs. Then we can just use input. If input colon required, that means if input is having required, this required class verifies whether required is mentioned or not. If it is required, then plus span. Plus span means adjacent. I told you one option, space span means inside, and plus is adjacent. Adjacent means beside it. Beside it, we can access plus. Plus span, what should happen? That span should set color to red, and it should display as inline. Display as inline means side by side. Now I will write above input, and beside that span, every span display should be none. That means all spans display is set to none which are present after input. But only the input where required is mentioned, those spans are displayed in line. Then you can see here only these two are having star mark. Others are not there. Now suppose if I change that size and all, you can adjust, right? Suppose I defined font size as some 25 pixel. The letter star size will increase. I will just here padding left as 5 pixel. Some gap will come. Right now the point is, so these star marks are not standard. these star marks will be changing. See, I remove or I simply added. So age is also required. Then automatically star mark appears. I removed mobile required here. Then automatically star mark disappears. That means when you create dynamic forms, in those dynamic forms, situation wise, we change this. In one situation, we say that name is only required. In another situation, we say that mobile also required. So required is not standard, it is changing. Then for which one required is there, which one required is not there, how user knows? We will just put some symbols. It's not necessary that you have to display like star marks. Sometimes some websites, what they do, whatever required fields are there, they will put with a red border. You can apply effect to text box, or you can apply effect to any element beside the text box. If you want to apply to text box, what you do? Again, you have to write like this. If input is defined with what? Required. Then put a border, 1 pixel, solid, red color. That's it. You can see those are red. That means those text boxes are set with red color. We can just put here, so box shadow, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 pixel and red color. They will get a shadow. And this is not standard, it is changing. Suppose I added password also as required, then password also will get that. I removed password from required, then again it will be normal. This is actually required class. So what is the concept of required is? It is a CSS class that verifies in the form which field is having required, so that it is easy to apply effects for that you can do by using required. This is one example. I will keep all examples at one place. This is example for what? Required. Actually, in the classes, we have another class as another class is we have a in range. In range. In range is nothing but it verifies the range, the value range. It verifies the value range that you input into any element. So, and what it will do is it can apply effect only if the value is in specified range. If the value is in only specified range, then it will apply the effect. These are mostly used for min length, max length like options. Value range. For example, you see we have in range, we have out of range. So it sets effects if value is not within the specified range. That's what actually out of range is. These are mostly used for setting validation for numeric input and all. For example, let's see how it works in range, out range, how it is used. Let's do one thing. Suppose here we have age. All these we will remove now. These are all removed. And we are not using any required. Let's remove the required. Yeah. And these spans also not required. Different examples we are looking, right? See, now for age, we are giving min is 15 and max is 30. Now, what happens is here beside this, there is a div. This div should have, that means it should have age 15 to 30 only. That is the message. You can see it shows like this. Age 15 to 30 only, this should display if they don't enter that. Right? Then what should happen here for this age? How to access this age? I don't want for all text boxes. Then we will put an ID for this. Or we can put a class. What is the class? Age. I will apply here. So dot age. That is text box. If age have a class in range, if it is in range, what should happen? The plus div, adjacent div, display should be none. It should not display. It should not display. And dot age, if it is out of range, then its display should be block. Block means below. Inline means beside. So block is below and color we will keep as red. Now here you can see this is age and I am typing here some age. I am typing some age. It says age 15 to 30. Which one color? Display block. Display block, which one? Div. Okay, now. Okay. Now here you see I click here and I type here. So it is age 15 to 30 on. I entered some 22, then it is hidden. Extra value, then again it will display. You saw previously, I told you when we learned about the patterns and validations that the messages are by default coming. And how we can change those messages? Can we put our own messages? We can put our own messages. But for that, we need CSS, JavaScript help, right? This is our own messages. Previously, what message was coming? Previously, it says that the minimum value is 15. You entered 14. Like that, it will show. But now it is simple. Age 15 to 30 only. Within the range, then it will be hidden. This is used for in range and out of range. In range and out of range, this is example. Let me give you this example. So this is an example for in range and out of range. Out of range. So in validation classes in CSS, we have a required, in range, and we have out of range. We have another important, we have valid class. So it sets effects when field is valid. And we have invalid class. Invalid class, it sets effects when a field is invalid. Invalid. That is valid and invalid. That means they can work for any validation. That means here note is valid and invalid. Invalid can verify any type of validation. Any type of validation. It may be required, it may be min length, it may be max length, it may be min, it may be max, it may be pattern, it may be email, it may be URL, any validation it can handle. For any validation, these valid and invalid can work, right? So valid and invalid are used to verify whether the field is passing the validation you given. That means you used mobiles, you used some other. We learned how to write a pattern, right? For example, see here. Let's create another screen for this. I will use only username and only mobile. Username and mobile. Only two details are there. Okay. So here for username, I will give a class. This is username. And for text, this is class. This is mobile. For username, we added here a field required. That is validation. For mobile, we are having a validation pattern. We learned pattern. I showed you how to write pattern. Suppose I written the pattern like /+91 and /d. How many digits? 10. It should be in that pattern. Now, after this text box, adjacent to the text box, we keep a div. In that, we will put a message username required. And adjacent to this text box, mobile, we will put another div, say invalid mobile. So, and here we say +91 and 10 digits. Like this required. Like this we are defining. Now you can see here, this is the page. We don't want to display these messages. We want those messages to display only when that error occurred. Right? Then what we will do is here, we will simply access. The first one is we will access dot required, dot username. For that username, whatever div is present, after that display as none. When to display? When username is invalid. When username is invalid, then the div adjacent div should display as block. Block means below. Similarly, we have another one, mobile. Mobile beside that div should display, should be none. And mobile, if it is invalid, sorry, this is what? Valid. Mobile is invalid only, na? Yeah. So if it is invalid, we will put display. Display as what? Display as a block. That's it. Now you can see not only block, I will put color as red. So the div beside color as what? Red. Now you can see here username required, it is showing. Because that is the validations not passed yet. Because it is still empty. Now I click here, enter some username, it is hidden. I remove that username, then automatically it will be displayed again. You entered the username, that means it is valid. Then the message is hidden. Now we are typing mobile number. So I am entering mobile, then it says invalid. 9, 2, something. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 digit. Why? Because it should start with what? +91. Now it is hidden. Anything is not matching, it will show. This is valid, invalid. You can use for any validation. First one I used for required. Second one I used for pattern. So if the field is valid, then in one way, not valid another. We can change color. As I told you, if field is valid, it should be in green color. If field is not valid, then it should be in red color. You can change the complete color of that, not only messages. For example, what you can do here, you can write like this. If username is invalid, if username is invalid, then put a box shadow 2 pixel 2 pixel red, and change the border to 2 pixel solid red. That is it. And if username is valid, if it is valid, then change that to green color. Green color. We are changing to green color. Now you can see here, it is red shadow. Not only message, we can change the complete appearance, and user is typing something. Now it is okay. Now it is fine. If not, then it will display in red color. So we can change the appearance of that element, or we can apply some appearance for the element which is adjacent to that. That you can control by using these validation attributes. So these are all the validation attributes that we have, right? So these generally we call them as CSS validation classes. One more is that we have another one, checked. Checked, actually, it is used to verify checked attribute of radio or checkbox. It is used to verify checked attribute of radio or checkbox. Is it checked or not? So that is another one, checked, right? For example, see here now. Suppose we are adding. So another example. This I will copy. This is related to valid and invalid. Okay. Let's add another option. I will remove all this. And here I will just add one option. Like we are adding a simple data list, data term. So here I said some terms of service. Okay. Let's keep a data definition. And in that we have text area. And we will keep rows is 4, calls is 40, and disabled. And we will put some paragraph. So accept, read our terms of service, something like this. So much paragraph can be there. Now below this, I am defining input type is equal to checkbox. And here I given a class called terms. And beside that checkbox, I given here a span. I accept. Like this we define. Now usually this is the simple design that we created. Now what happens in this is, if user is not selecting the checkbox, it should be in red color. If selected, that should be in green color. That means, how do you verify whether this checkbox is selected or not? Actually, we have to do that with logic. JavaScript is required for that. But now we can simply verify by using CSS dot terms. And if the terms is a checkbox, then we have colon what checked. That means if checkbox is checked, so checked is a class. If it is checked, then plus span, its color should be green. Otherwise, the terms terms span should be color red. That's the color. And you can see this is how it shows red. And I selected the checkbox, it turns to green. That means we can change the appearance of that based on selected or not. We can add a lot of effects. Actually, some websites, what they do, suppose some websites, they have button. Suppose inside this, we have a button. For this button, I am just adding some break. Line break is there, BR, or just for this button, I will add some option like submit like this. And I will keep this button after few breaks, right? There is a button here. That's enough. Now, if user is not selecting the checkbox, submit button should not appear at all. It should not appear. It should completely hide. That means they should able to submit only when the checkbox is checked. Then what we are doing here is we are writing a simple logic. Now here we are saying dot terms, and this is not plus button because button is not adjacent. So plus button I given display as none. That means you can see the button is not working. Why? Because button is not adjacent. Who is adjacent? A span is adjacent. Button is somewhere after this text box. Not adjacent, somewhere after the text box. But it is in same container, na? It should be in same container, but somewhere else it is there. In that case, we have to use tilde symbol. Plus indicates immediately after. Tilde indicates anywhere after. Anywhere after, it will get that. Anywhere after that particular element, but it should be inside the scope only. Inside the scope means inside the container. That means both must be in same container. Terms are in the same container, button also in the same container. Now you see here, it is going to hide that. Now when it should display, when terms is checked, then tilde button, the button that comes after it, it should display as block. Now you see when I select I accept, then it will be displayed. And I remove, it will be hidden. We can control a lot of things. Later with JavaScript, we can even disable enable. That means if they not selected, then it will be disabled. If it is selected, then it will be enabled. We can disable, enable, or we can show or hide. This is very important mostly while working with checkboxes. So what is the option required while working with checkbox? While working with checkbox, which class is used? We use the class called checked. So these are all validation related classes. This is example for checked. I will copy that example. So whenever you are designing the forms, These are important about forms. Earlier, we don't have all these. So earlier, we don't have all these. That is the reason. Second. Right. So earlier, we don't have all these. That is the reason we need to depend completely on the concept of JavaScript. But now without using much JavaScript, we use this. Sometimes you may have a question like, why we cannot use JavaScript? Why we have to use CSS? Right? Point is simple. Actually, if you can do with CSS, better do it. So don't wait for JavaScript, because JavaScript problem is it may be blocked by browsers. Browser may block JavaScript. If browser blocks JavaScript, JavaScript validations will not work. But browser cannot block CSS. So in every situation, CSS validations are going to work. But JavaScript validations will work only when JavaScript is enabled. That is the reason it's important that you have to better use with CSS, right? These are all the important classes required for applying effects. I hope you are clear. So required, in range, out of range, valid, invalid, and check. This is all related to forms. It's a very big concept. And you need to be very strong, because in future you may learn Angular, React, Java, .NET, or any technology if you are willing to learn related to web. There we have to use forms everywhere. And in those technologies, they don't teach again forms. They think that you are coming from the background of HTML, means you are already perfect in forms. Even people who are learning Java, .NET, PHP, Python, usually those people are sent to learn HTML, because they have to know the concept of working with forms very well. In Java, they have to use forms. In .NET, they have to use forms. And forms, they don't train there. They get trained in HTML and they go and implement there, right? So that is the reason we need to have a complete knowledge on working with the forms. Next, important after working with forms, now we need to know in HTML, another concept is tables. In HTML, how we can work with tables and multimedia. These are the two things we have. Tables also very popular. Actually, we used display grid. We use a display grid for arranging information into rows and columns. But remember, display grid is not great when your content is regularly changing. Grid is good for arranging information into rows and columns, but grid is not good if your content is regularly changing. So tables are good for presenting the data which changes regularly. Tables are very important. So mostly where we use tables are used for designing data grids. We call them data grids. Tables are used in designing data grids. Data grids means user can view the details, user can add, user can update, user can delete. Such interactions, dynamically rows, adding, removing, then better go with table, because it is very easy to add anything into a table, remove anything from a table through programming dynamically instead of dealing with divs. So when you are using display grid, that is good if you are dealing with a static design. If you are dealing with dynamic data manipulation, then better go with tables. For example, I will show you. Suppose you take one example of bank statement. If you take example of bank statement contains some rows and columns. You might have seen that rows and columns are present in a bank statement. And rows and columns, which day, which transaction, so how much amount and all. Now, by seeing that, you may be thinking like we can design it by using grid. You can design it by using grid because grid divides into columns. But grid is not good for that. Why grid is not good for that? Because that statement is not standard. Every day it will be changing. Some new options are adding. It keeps on changing, updating. In that case, grid is not good for such kind of presentation. Then what they use? Tables. And in real-time projects, lot of work you have to do with tables only. Means because in real-time projects, lot of data presentation happens, which we manage by using tables. For example, I will show you. Suppose I will show one example of third parties. Like suppose there is a third party, Telerik. Telerik is a third party. Telerik is a very popular third party. That means it says modern UI made easy. Do you know, generally in software companies, if we have to design something and you can design that, but it will take a lot of time to design it. Lot of coding is required. Then your companies, what they do, they will say that don't design. Already there are designs. We will purchase from them and we will use. Right? Because software development, as I told so many times, it is not a talent show. Software development is not a talent show. It is pure business. We don't care about you and your talent. First point. We never care about you and your talent. We just care about whether you are capable of doing this and delivering by time. They never care, right? Software companies, remember one point. So you should never get dedicated into this. You should be very mean. That means you just do what is given to you, nothing else. Many times people in interviews, when we ask like, so how you will be helpful for our company? Then many people say, I will dedicate my life for you. I will die for you. My life is for your company. These are all nonsense, right? These are all nonsense. Why? Because companies are not dedicated to you. First thing, you worked for a company for 10, 15 years. 10, 15 years you worked for a company. Next day, they don't have a project. Then they will send you out. They will not even give you a send-off party. They will not even ask you to come to office. They will say that don't come to office. Send your laptop through courier. We will send an email and every formality we will take care. Don't come at all. You work 10 years. They don't care. You work 10 years or 20 years. So what? They paid you. Have you done a social work? They paid you for that. Business, software development is business. Don't ever get dedicated anywhere. That's nonsense actually. We don't care, they don't care. Right? They don't see how much hard work you do. They just see whether you've done the work or not. Freshers have a lot of excitement. In the freshers, in the beginning level, lot of excitement will be there. I am becoming a software engineer. I will go as a software developer. They have a lot of over excitement. And that excitement they will cash, right? First year, You will be first few days, you will be taking selfie. My desk, my laptop, my ceiling, my floor, everything you will be taking a selfie and posting on Facebook. After 3-4 months, you will not take. After 3-4 months, you will not take. Right? Reasons you will know. I will tell you. That means only first few months. First year, you will get best employee of the year. First year, you will get best employee of the year. And see, many people, only first year they will get. Second year, they know. If they say that we will give best employee, you will say, no, I don't want. I don't want. Because if you are doing work, they will give you work. You are doing extra work, they will give you extra work. Right? That means they will squeeze you in such a way that no more juice. Right? By 1 year, you will get clarity. Then you will be very mean. You will just do what is given to you. You will not get involved into others. First time you will have a lot of action. Sir, we will do like this, we will do like that. They will usually laugh, right? They think that, okay, we will use them for first 1 year. After that, nothing. These are facts. These are facts. You know, generally, you see, high-tech city, Madhapur area, all super specialty hospitals are nearby there only. Then, frankly, all are there. Do you know what offers they give in companies? You know, na? Don't know? Full body checkup free for software people. They conduct drives to companies, right? Why? Because once you are into software, without good skill sets, you have to take a lot of pressure. You can't tolerate that pressure. Many people face this problem. If you have learned the concept perfect, you can handle everything perfectly, then it's enjoyable. You can enjoy the development process. You can enjoy the software industry if you have good skill. Right? If you are not, so by some means you are sent into it. Somebody pushed you into this, right? They cracked interview for you. So they pushed you into it. So, and you went into it. Now you can't survive. You have to take a lot of pressure. We have seen personally lakhs of people with a lot of interests, means they don't learn, but through a lot of loopholes, they get into it, right? They don't have skill, but through loopholes, they get into it. And we have seen a lot of people just in 1-2 months, they quit. They come out. They can't handle that pressure. That's the reason skills are important. You learn perfectly. Secondary, don't waste time. So majority try to save the time in your work. And for that, whatever possible shortcuts are there, implement, right? That is officially allowed. Even company says that. So don't do any complicated hard work on this. We already have ready-made. You borrow and use it. So these are very popular actually, third parties. That means suppose you see building website. I told you, see, suppose you went to any person and say that, means web developer, and say that I want a website. I have this business. I want a website. Then do you know how many days he will build a website? A small requirement is there. By tomorrow, he will deliver. By tomorrow, he will give it to you. So fast, how you can design? He will not design. He will ask you that, okay, choose one template, which one you want. What is your business? According to that, we have some templates. You choose one template. So I will give you the template. And on the template, we just put your data. That is fast. You designed that fake store template, na? We designed fake store template, right? Right? That fake store template, they are selling for $49. We have shopping template, na? Shopper. that shopper template, they are selling for $49, which you can design. But you will take lot of time in designing such. Then you buy it. You buy it and customize according to requirements. So that is very, very important. So you have, and that is not easy. If you know the complete concept, then only you can easily customize. Right? So that means you need to learn the technology perfectly, but don't waste time. So do it in a faster way. So whatever possible shortcuts are there, implement into this. This is what very popular actually, Telerik people. You see, these are the customers of Telerik. NASA is customer of Telerik. Microsoft is customer of Telerik. IBM is customer of Telerik. That means Microsoft, IBM people are purchasing some designs from these people. Why? They are itself software development company. They can ask their developers to design. Millions of developers are there for their company across the world. They can't design. They can design. Then why they are borrowing from others? Because they want to save the time. Why? Because, for example, you are using a mobile and the mobile name is Samsung, but the camera in Samsung doesn't belong to Samsung. You know, that means it is by somebody who is popular in cameras, right? Some Sony is popular in camera. Then what they do is they borrow from Sony and put that camera inside. You know, for example, you are wearing spectacles and you know the frame is by Lenskart or somebody, but the lens belong to Carl Jesus or somebody others. You cannot ask why Lenskart you manufacture your own lens. They will say that already our business is huge. We are involved in lot of work and we can't do everything. Somebody is doing that and popular in this. Okay, let him do and we will borrow from him. That is what happens in software development also. And here you will see the demos. When we go to demos, they will give you a lot of designs related to all technologies. We will go to some jQuery demos, JavaScript based demos. You will see here, first place they given grid. Means lot of are there, but you see the first priority. First priority grids, charts, schedules, drop downs, date pickers, editors. And very first priority grid. That means in business requirements, this is one of the popularly used option. Every business needs this. And you see when I click on grid, how it looks like. Actually, this grid is nothing but this grid is a table actually. It has some animation, it will load. Means it comprises of lot of effects. So you can see this is the grid here. It is loading. And these grids are designed by using tables. And you see this is a grid. That is a grid. And still data, you see this is all the data. And in this grid, product name, price, in stock, category, rating, and arranged information in rows and columns. Not only that, it will have paginations. It will have options like filtering and sorting. All such functionality we can give later by using JavaScript jQuery. First design we can do in HTML. This design is done in HTML. The functionality is given by using JavaScript and jQuery. And is it a display grid option? No, it is a table. This is not display grid. Display grid is not good for designing the grids which can dynamically change. So for that, what is best? So the best is table. That means we can use tables. What is the purpose of tables? So tables arrange content in rows and columns. So table allows to dynamically to change data dynamically. So that means it is easy for adding, updating, and removing data from table. So it is good for sorting, filtering, sorting, sorting and filtering data in a table. It is good for sorting and filtering data using table. These are all the basic points. That means display grid is not good in all this. Display grid can arrange, but it is not good in all this. Now to design table, so we have a lot of table in HTML is configured by using following elements. We have a lot of elements here. We have table, we have caption, we have T head, T body, T foot. So we have T R, T H, and TD. And one more is their call group. These are all used for designing a table. To design a table, these are all the elements that we need. These all elements are required, right? So table, caption, T head, T body, foot, TR, and all. First, I will explain their role, how they work actually. For example, see, generally how they work is, suppose this is a container. That is a container. This is considered as table. That is table. So in this container, usually here we will have a title for the table. This is like some title, like some products data. And actually this is considered as caption. That is caption actually. That is considered as caption. So table have a caption, and captions are helpful for making the table SEO friendly, search engine friendly, so that users can search and crawlers can easily catch them and use them, right? So another, we have three sections here. This is header section, this is a body section, and this is footer section. Table comprises of three sections actually: header, body, and footer, which are defined by using T head, and defined by using T body, and defined by using T foot. These are the three sections: the head, body, and the footer. Now in every section, directly data is not stored. In every section, so actually we have a row. In every section we have a row. This is considered as row. That is a row. And in this row usually you will have, this row contains cells. Understood? It contains cells. Suppose 1, 2, 3 cells we are having. These cells are called TD. Or if they are heading cells, these can be called as TH also. That means TD is ordinary cell, TH is a heading cell. Heading cells will have special appearance like center alignment, bold. They have different appearance for that. So that is T. And everywhere, suppose in the table body, again rows will come. Understood? Table body, again rows will come. Every row is designed by using what? Every row is designed by using which one? TR. In every row, again cells will come. These cells are designed by using TD, table data, or TH, table header. These are called table cells. Now, actually, you have, so we usually have groups. That means actually one column we can put as one group like this, so that we can highlight that group. Two columns, one group, one column, one group, like that. That is defined by using what? Call groups. Call groups. So, and remember, it is not necessary that every table should have these groups. It's not necessary that everything should have groups. Directly, you can create a table with just rows and columns. It means you don't need T head, T body, T foot every time. Just directly there can be TR and TD cells. I will show you all the technique how. Let's see how to design. But remember, these are not enough to get a table appearance. These are for creating table. But to get a table appearance, table have a lot of attributes. Attributes are required for handling table and presenting table in a table way. Lot of attributes are required. Let's see how they work, right? So directly using them will not give you any table appearance, right? We need combination of lot of attributes, which I will tell you, right? Let's see what are the attributes here. So first, let's create this design. I am adding here a new file. So let's add a new file, tables.html. And in this design, and let's say tables. And here we will create a table. That is the start and end of table. In the table, I will put a caption. The caption is suppose products table. Okay. And below that, we need 3 sections. T head is one section. T body is another section. And T foot is another section. Now, in every section, we will add a row, TR. TR is for row. In every row, you have cells. Suppose I am using TD. TD is an ordinary cell. Suppose I will give name, I will give price, I will give stock, like this. And important here, you see now these looks like ordinary cell. There is nothing table like. I will tell you, we learned various attributes are required. So initially they look normal. If you want them to look like heading, you use TH. TH, then you will see that TH looks little different than ordinary cell. They are bold and all. Temporarily, for table, I am giving an attribute width, which we already know width 500. This is table width. For table, I will give border as 1. By default, it looks like this. Later, I will explain all attributes, right? So, but border and width, we already know. In image also, we can apply. Right now, you see, for this table, we are adding body. In the table body, I said, so TR. In that, how many cells? First cell, second cell, third cell. We need 3. I will use TD. And in that cell, you can put anything. Suppose I mentioned some Realme, and here we added another cell. How much price? Suppose 10,000, some price. So I return some ampersand hash 8377 like this. And another cell, what is it available? Like this, like stock, I define like this. In a table cell, you can add anything. It's just like a container. You can put a picture, you can put any link, you can put any table inside again. You can put buttons. For example, see now, we will do a lot of other work also. So here, this is stock. And in this stock, after that, I give preview. So I give an preview. And preview, then last cell here, it contains an image. Image source is images / some realme1.jpg. So width is some 100, height 100. You see an image is here. We can put anything in table. We can add any content in the table and display. Right? So it's not like you can put only some text. Right? Anything can be defined. A table can contain a table also inside. Right? Okay, first we will see different designs, then we can understand that. Now here we will keep option like, suppose there is another TH like actions. Now what I will do is here another cell. Here I given a button, so edit. I given a button like delete. So I given a button like details. You can see there are buttons. We have option like details, edit, delete, like operations we can perform. That depends how you want to configure and specify them. Actually, one below another, one beside another. Suppose I am just using a BR here, and you have those three options for that. And for example, now I will add here one simple one. Link relation is style sheet, and href is node modules, and bootstrap icons, fonts, icons.css. Instead of text, I will keep simple symbols there. That means here I am applying a span class bi some I fill like this. And here I given a span. So class bi some pen fill. And here we have a span like class bi trash fill. And you see all these symbols will come. Right? That means we can view, we can edit, we can delete. Such interactions we can manage for them. Now here, this is just only one row. Like that, we can add any number of rows. That means I will copy this row. I will copy this row. And I will paste another row. And I will change realme2.jpg. Some 11,000. It will be different. Right? We are just changing the appearance and we are adding that. So a table contains information arranged in rows and columns. Now here we have body. Okay. In the table footer, I'm adding row. In that we have a cell. So, and another cell like this, I'm giving cells. How many cells? Depending on how many columns you have. 5 columns we are having. Here I am giving 5 cells. That is the footer at the bottom. And here I am writing ampersand copy semicolon. A copyright symbol will come. I am writing here some copyright. Just we will say copyright. And now later you are going to learn how to merge all of them into one cell. For that we need attributes. Initially I just left others empty, right? This is the basic design of a table. It's not done, it's just only basic. And in this, everything we used, one option we are not using, call group. So in the table I am adding call group. How many columns to group? You have to tell span 2 or 1. You will not see any difference here. Why we will not see any difference? Because that call group requires some special styles and some special attributes to get appearance, right? Now later I will show you that what is that special appearance. Actually we can apply style, some background color as some yellow, then the column group will appear, right? The situation I will tell you later how to get that column group. Initially column group is there, but it will not display until or unless you give some suitable app options for that. We will do those suitable options. We will see how to handle. But initially all are ready now. That means everything is in the table. We have a table, caption, head, body, footer. We have row and head and cell. Now important is, don't think that in header only one row will be there. It's your wish, you can add any number. That means you can have multiple headers, you can have more than one row of headers. That another table I will create and show you, right? It's not necessary that you have to use exactly what they give. Your wish, you can handle them in any way. First let me copy this for you. This is the example. So in this this is the example for all these elements. All these elements are kept in one example. But now we will see the correct design, how it works. Now important is table attributes. Table attributes. What are the table attributes? With that we can get an appearance for table. Designing table is done. Okay, let me remove the table border. Width I will keep it. Width I will give some 800, but I am removing the border. So this is how the table looks like. Now I will explain all the attributes, how table gets a good appearance, right? For that, first thing we will know about table. Table have borders. A table have a frame. It have rules and border. Three things are there for table. First, you saw just only border, but table have actually three things: frame, rules and border. Frame is frame. It is defined for entire table. Frame is defined for entire table, and so it have options. What are the options for frame? For frame we have options like, frame can have options like frame box, frame void, frame RHS, frame LHS, frame above and frame below. These are the options that you can give for a frame. So table have frames. Frame can be box, void, right hand side, left hand side, and above and below. These are the values you can apply for a frame. That means we can write like this: table can have a frame which can be box, or which can be void, or which can be RHS, like this. It can have any. These are the various attributes for frame, right? Let's see now. This is the table, how it looks like. For table, I will apply frame. Frame can be box. Box means you see it looks like this. That is only frame. And what else frame can have? Frame can have like RHS, right hand side. You see right hand side line will come. A frame can have LHS, left hand side. Remember, you cannot have both. You cannot have left hand side, right hand, only one it will accept. If you want such multiple, you have to apply through styles, CSS. Attribute will accept only one value. RHS, LHS, you can use above. Above means it will be top, and below, below means it will be down. So below it will be down. If you want, you can give box. Box means it will be like this. Actually, there is an option called void. It will not be there. Now the doubt here is, if I don't write frame, frame will not be there. Why to write frame and put void? If I don't write frame, frame will not be there. Why you are writing frame and saying void? That is nothing but, actually, suppose you saw hyperlink. When you saw hyperlink, hyperlink have an underline. Have you given underline? No, by default it is having underline. Then we have to remove extra. That means many times in table designs, you will get a frame even you haven't written frame, right? That means you are not writing frame, but table have a frame. Then how to remove? So then we have to write the frame and put it as what? Void. That situation will come. I will show you. So that is why we have so many options. We can put box and all. That is frame. Okay. Next important, you have rules. Rules are defined. So rules are defined. Rules are defined for rows, for calls, for and groups, for groups and all. Rules are defined for rows, calls, groups and all. That means you have to define rules like this. Rules is not for table. Rules is for only rows, columns, groups. That means you can define a table. You can say rules is equal to all, or rows, or calls, or groups, or you can give none. These are the options for rules. And rules are not for table, they are for rows and columns. Let's do that. For example, now I will remove the frame. There is no frame. There is no frame. I will write here rules. Rules equal to rows, and only rows will come. Only rows will come. I given rules is equal to calls. Only columns will come. I said rules is equal to groups. Now interesting. Now column group will come. You can see how many groups are there. Head, body, foot. You see groups will be separated. Now column group will come. Suppose I will change span 1, then it will be like this. Right? I given span 4, then it will be like this. Right? We can add the separator line where you want, you can define. This is appeared only when you use rules as what? Groups. Suppose I am giving rules as all, then you can see all rules are there. Remember, this is not border, this is rules. Rules, and see frame is not there. Frame is not there outside. Then we will put frame. Frame as what? Box. frame is equal to box, then frame will come. Now that is what actually rules how you can apply. Frame is for table, rules are for rows, columns, groups, right? You can apply that. Okay. We have border. Border is, it is for cells. It is for cells in table. In table. It is for cells in table. Border is for cell. So that means not for table. And here one very, very important point. You cannot set border if rules attribute is defined in table. You have to remove rules to set border. This is very important. Otherwise, border will not work. You have to remove rules completely. Then only you can apply border. So currently, you see here, we have rules and I am applying border. You will not see any border. Why? Because border cannot work if rules are there. You have to completely remove rules, not none. None means what? Rules are removed. But rules are removed, but border is not coming. To see border, you have to remove this complete rules count. Then only you can see border. This is border. And what is the interesting point is, border is for actually cells. How to clearly see it? We will do one thing. We will put frame as void. Observe carefully. I am not writing frame, but you see border is having a frame. That means already frame is coming. Then how to remove that frame? We have to use frame as what? Void. Now you will see that these are for only cells. Border is for cells, not for table. Right? So border applies for cells, rules apply for rows and columns, frame apply for table. Table don't have border actually. Table have only frame. So rows have rules, cells have border. That is what we can apply actually. So we can apply frame as void, then it, and important, border is not size. Border is not size. Border have only two values actually. It uses 1 is equal to true and 0 is equal to false. That means it is not border size. That means, for example, I mentioned border as 5 and I mentioned border as 5 and you see there is no change. There is no change. It is not size of border. It is only true or false. 1 is true, 0 is false. It will be removing. So 1 is true and anything other than 1 you entered, it is true. Right? So there are only two values for that. Two values. So we can apply border in that way. So we can just give table border is equal to 1 and we can say frame is equal to void. Then you will see the borders clearly. So table have all these options: frame, rules and border. You can see more gap easily because second one you have cell spacing and cell padding. You know this padding and spacing. So cell spacing is nothing but, so sets cell spacing means it is nothing but it sets space between cells. What is cell padding? Cell padding is nothing but it sets space between what? It sets space between cell border and its content. Border and content. Distance between border and content is padding. Right? Now you can apply them simply like this. For example, you see, I will go into the table because border is there. Now I will give cell spacing is equal to 10 and you can see some gap will be there. space between the cells. We want some gap between the content also. Then what we will do? Cell padding. Cell padding also 10 pixels. Then you see some gap will come. Some gap between the cell content and the border. That is cell padding. We already know that padding is what, right? Cell spacing, cell padding. Now, suppose frame I given as box, then you can see the gap around. That is actually cell spacing and cell padding, right? This is actually space. We just use table. Cell spacing is equal to 10 and cell padding is equal to some 10. Let's how we have to define this spacing and padding. Now, lot of other options are there for table that we'll see tomorrow, right? This is just only two things you have seen. Table have a lot of more options that we'll see in next session tomorrow. And tomorrow, if we can finish this table, I will show you some real-time examples designed with table. Designed with table means what we can do is, we saw Amazon like shopping site. We can recreate that without grids by using tables. I will show you how we can do that. Then one more topic is there, multimedia. With that, we will finish HTML. We will go into CSS now, right? For HTML, two more topics. One is table, another one is multimedia, right? Mostly by Monday, we can start working with CSS. Okay. So then we'll, and CSS will be easy for us because already we know a lot of CSS. In that, what you extra need to know that you will learn. So that will be more easy for you now, right? That will continue. Tomorrow we'll see, right? Yeah.